Hess. Boychuk with the quick throw. Paquet, lovely turn, but there to read it was Scott. Desi Scott, first touch of the game. To Chu.
So that right there is what they're going to have to be careful of. You do not want Pridham or Lee to be able to find those gaps in behind Bibeau and Hess and in between Lees and Capadona. That is where they're going to be able to find the ball, be able to spin and turn, and you really don't want that because they are going to be left exposed, and those are two players you do not want running at your back line.
A hefty whistle there. Baudouin did not like that tackle on Sauvé.
It's a good little turn by Paquet. That's exactly right there. You do not want that. You do not want her coming off the front because they are dangerous. They are going to be able to control the play, especially in that midfield, outnumbering Montreal.
Back all the way to Eriksson. Playing through Desi Scott in the middle.
On Montreal's side, they also do have to be aware of that double pivot. It's not going to be easy to shut down Scott and Gibson. They are going to try to find the ball and drop low to receive it. So I do think, although Ottawa did well to evade that pressure there, you know, Paquin and Boychuk do need to be able to play off of each other and recognize, at least have someone screening either Scott or Gibson coming to receive the ball.
Holland and Harris playing against each other, given away to Whitaker. Well, up by Abdu. And Holland will give it a boot out of bounds and reset 5 minutes into this match. Holland from Norway, very accomplished in the classroom as well as on the pitch. With a master's in law, works for a think tank actually part-time. Nice turn. That's your territory, sorry.
No,
we
you
were
love,
both admiring.
No, you love to see it. You love to see the creativity come out.
Whitaker against Fridland.
That needs to be better. Those simple passes do need to be cleaned up. You can't be giving Ottawa back the ball.
Chu pushing forward to Pridham. Scott Chu playing a little keep-up game. Harris wide to Liv Scott. Picked up by Sauvé. Looking to go 1v1. These two teams met in a friendly in the preseason. Of course, we don't know the results of those. It was a closed-door friendly, but they have seen each other in person before. Robert Rosatoyu saying, you know, it's always good to see your competition ahead of time. But he worries about how his team plays. And not that he doesn't worry about Ottawa Rapid, but he wants to focus on the things that they can control. Very philosophical coach.
Yeah, I've personally played for coaches who have adapted the entire style of play to shut down threats, and that doesn't usually work out in your favor. You sort of lose your identity, and at this early into a season, you're still trying to build your identity and really find your footing. So I think that's a great mentality going into this. Just really focus on your own.
Hess trying to release Whitaker, ball across. Whitaker still got it.
That was a good effort by Whitaker. That is somebody, Whitaker last matchup, she had a big game. I think that she is somebody that in the first matchup was a little quiet, didn't really shine as much, but last matchup, not only did she get a goal, but she was awesome defensively. Her 1v1 battles, she was aggressive, she was intense from the first minute all the way to the 90th.
Eriksson Stockholm, Sweden native, though grew up in the Ottawa area. Tanya Boychuk able to win that ball back. Bibeau, layoff with Hess, doesn't work out.
Boychuk does need more options at that point. There does need to be somebody pulling out wide. You saw Smith, she was a little late to it. Sauvé was tucked inside. Somebody does need to fill that. They're going to be able to expose Ottawa a bit more on the flank, so I do think they need to take advantage of that.
Holland to Scott. Back forward, pumped forward. And Karpenko off her line, staying in touch with her defenders. Lees. And the pressure was on Whitaker by Fridland. Out for an Ottawa throw. Chu. So we get a look at Katrina Peterson. If you watched last week's match, her blue coat had to be dry cleaned after having water and other beverages poured all over her. She did get it back from the dry cleaners on Thursday, so. But a new jacket this time.
A head injury potentially? Or contact to the head? The referee is pointing to her head.
Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like she got some contact on the head there.
And this is obviously health and safety protocol that's in place. Teams have to follow. Wave back on from the fourth official, DB Pridham.
It's a great ball in.
Ooh, late challenge.
That was a good idea to go forward, but yeah, absolutely a late challenge. She just wasn't able to get much on that. I will say I think Montreal really does need to find Bibeau's feet. I mentioned that earlier, but she is, their maestro in the middle there. She's able to really control the dynamic and the tempo of the match, and I think that's going to be huge today to finding that success.
Montreal pushing forward. That's Smith. And Sauvé now. Tucking inside, no one's there, but Scott sweeps things up so well in that defensive midfield role. Desiree Scott and Ellen Gibson, great player that played a lot of her career with Hammarby in Sweden. So really experienced midfield playing in that sort of double pivot today, Jess.
Yeah, and you can see it. You can see their leadership out there. You can see how confident everyone is in the player next to them. And I think that starts from those two players. They're able to, lead by example. They look calm, cool, collected, and you can see that although there was nerves in that first matchup, I would say that Ottawa was the one team that came out very confident in their shape.
Abdu. Bibeau wide to Whitaker. Whitaker looking inside. That's broken up. Boychuk. Handled by the Rapid. DB Pridham coming back and having some help defense.
Not a lot of forwards will drop that far back to do the defensive work, so we love to see it. We were joking about this earlier, Signa. Not a lot of forwards like to defend, but I think for both these sides, we've seen both Paquin and Boychuk as well as Pridham come all the way back into their own half to, double team and make it difficult for the other team to create anything.
Just out of the reach of Chu. Karpenko across to Smith. Sauvé, nice touch, but covered by Liv Scott.
There's a moment that really highlights Liv Scott and that young leadership and her ability to, stand strong and come in confidently and win those tackles.
Ottawa looking, picks up the throw in.
It's a good defensive effort by Sauvé to not allow that cross in. Adamek is a very dangerous player. She does like to get forward, create chances for her team by getting the ball in the box. So that was great for her to step up there and not allow that.
Seeing Adamek in a higher role today, was more of a defensive role last week.
Yeah, last game she was really releasing Forbes to be able to go forward and get her more involved in that transitional play and creating issues down the wing. It seems today that she is the player that is going to be doing that.
Fridland. Somehow Lee still has it. Shielding. Trying to earn a corner. It will be a goal kick.
That's a good effort, and you love to see the quick little feet. We've seen what she can do when the ball is at her feet, but that was just another example of it. We thought she was going to lose it, and somehow she came out with it on the other end.
Mina Lee with that beautiful individual effort goal against AFC Toronto. Scott.
Defensively, you are also seeing Lee step up higher and really trying to deal with those two center backs alongside Pridham.
Well, great atmosphere at Stade Boreal today. 5,049 in attendance in this beautiful field. And the first for Canadian women's professional soccer, dedicated to women's professional soccer in this country. So well done by the Montreal Roses organization to build the stadium from scratch. Essentially, it's on an old AstroTurf field, but they built up with these, I call it the Lego Stadium, where they piece it together with the fans in mind and the fan atmosphere in mind. Really beautiful pitch.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks like a great place to play and a great environment, and I imagine it's like when the crowd gets going, it's going to be great.
An early battle between Pridham and Lees. Lees getting the call this time. Karpenko will come out for the kick. Karpenko, who you mentioned, had several saves against AFC Toronto, 6 saves in that 1-0 win to open the season. Richmond and Hill, Ontario native, playing in front of her friends and family. And then she just graduated from Georgetown, her graduate degree. So she missed the last match, although Montreal with a good headache to have, because Gabrielle Lambert was equally up to the task in their match against Vancouver. Scott popping ahead to Pridham. Pridham looking forward. Bibeau having a few words.
She did not look happy.
No. Bibeau, a fierce competitor, former French international, recently picking up her 300th career professional game. Mina Lee brought down, no call.
That's
Hess, little too soft, and the ball back all the way to Capadonna.
That's a great effort backed by Ali Hess. We've spoke about her being that workhorse and just being able to do work that's needed on both sides of the ball, and that's exactly what we just saw from her, getting back to defend Lee.
Paquin, freed up. The cross into the far post. Whitaker, almost a repeat of last week. Oh, off the crossbar.
That is a great team effort. That is what you want. Get the ball out, cross the ball in, and have runners absolutely crashing the box.
Lee trying to get this out. It's Hess. The battle with Boychuk, and that'll go out for a corner kick. So the first real chance of the game comes the way of the home squad, Montreal Roses. Haley Whitaker, who scored the first goal last week, nearly another.
This is a great ball in by Sauvé to be able to put it back post, and Whitaker to absolutely bust her butt and get there to put it back across.
You can almost smell that something's coming. Abdu on the corner now. Doesn't like where it's set up, so we'll fool around and go with the short corner. Abdu with a move, trying to get the ball across, and out for another corner kick.
Why not try it? Why not? If anyone's going to be on the ball and be able to take someone on and strike it on goal from there, it's definitely Abdu, so you love to see her try it. She potentially might switch it up this time and actually, deliver it into the box.
First signing in Rose's history, Latifa Abdu, the 23-year-old from Montreal, on the corner. Popping right up to the back post, headed away by Pridham. And out of danger for throw. You have to watch these throw-ins because Montreal scored 2 goals essentially off of throw-ins last week.
Yeah, they have been practicing them. As Rossitoy told us, he said that they've been practicing them, and it's been showing because they are able to create something off a throw-in, and a throw-in is, people would say, the least essential set piece, the least dangerous. So for them to be able to create a great goal off of one, it says a lot about how much effort they've been putting in.
Scott heading forward. Lee does well to win the ball back. You see that just beautiful technical ability of Lee. South Korean international with 83 caps. Scott opens up. Fridlin looking forward, no one's there. And Ottawa will regroup, and so will the Roses.
Right now you're seeing Paquin and Boychuk almost play flat. They were a little further back there. They weren't rushing in as we saw in the earlier plays. However, it would be more helpful for them to almost play in a pendulum and be able to deal with Scott coming off to receive that ball. She's doing a very good job at finding those half spaces and being able to create the attack for her team. So I do think that they have to do a better job in that partnership to really shut down that double pivot in the Ottawa midfield.
Lees to Whitaker. Bibo.
You can also see here, Signa, that far side is on. The switch is on every single time for Montreal. Someone just has to be brave enough to hit it.
Capadonna carrying forward, the former Yukon captain. First-year pro, carrying a little too far. And Ottawa on the attack. Lee laying it off to Pridham. Will go out for a throw.
It's a good defensive effort by Bibo. We're on the same wavelength here, Signa.
I like that. I like that. All the way back to Erickson. has not been busy, although had to be on her toes against AFC Toronto. Several good saves for Eriksson. Lee turning, skipping it by Bibeau, but Abdu coming in for help and knocking Lee off the ball. And that was something that Coach Rosatoyu was telling us about Abdu, that really when she's engaged with the entire attack, she's so much more effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And those moments are going to be huge. You do need that. You do need that. This is, first of all, this is an absolutely awesome show of her skill, and this is a great defensive effort by Abdu. You are going to need your far side midfielder to be engaged, because in these formations, when you look at them tactically, the way they line up, there is going to be, you're outnumbered. Montreal is going to be outnumbered in the midfield, so you do need the help from your wide midfielder to be able to come across weak side and shut down just like that, just like Abdu did. And yes, to your point, Rosatoyu did mention, you want Abdu to be her best self, and she is her best self when she plays for her teammates, and she does the little things like staying engaged on the far side.
Lee appears to be all right, gathering themselves from Daegu, Korea. 33-year-old. Played a lot of her time with the Steel Red Angels in the WK Korean League. Played in Japan for a time as well, but now finds herself in Canada.
Yeah, I think Lee's been huge. I think that she is somebody that absolutely lights up the attack, but she also does apply that pressure defensively. We're seeing her step a little higher up the pitch to help Pridham at times deal with those two center backs of Montreal, but we're also seeing her drop a little lower and helping in the midfield to deal with players like Bibeau and Hess, because they are two players that are very capable and you don't want them to get on the ball much. But overall, she's just a world-class player. I think that she brings a lot to this matchup, and she brings a lot to Ottawa's attack.
So a throw in now. And Lee will wait to be let back in the match. Slowing down the pace. Great spirit of the game. That's the way football is meant to be played. And after that brief stoppage, Montreal will try and pick up the pace. Here's Smith.
Another player I would love to see get involved in the attack a bit more is Sauvé. I think that she was quiet the very first matchup. Last game we saw her come alive. She obviously created that goal, Whitaker's goal, by her good little individual effort.
And here comes Sauvé now on the ball. Looking forward to Paquin, broken up. Pridham trying to get the ball wide. Gibson to Pridham, and Lee up and looking forward. Adamek battling it out with Capadonna. Capadonna does well to keep possession. To Bibeau. Capadonna has been very impressive. First-year professional, 90 minutes back-to-back, and really has not made an error to my eye.
You would never know that she was so young, and because of the way she plays, her experience, it looks like she's been on this pitch for a very long time and just owns that back line. Her and Lee's both have been great for Montreal in these first few games.
Abdu trying to slide it by Fridland. Out for a throw-in.
Another thing that Ottawa does very well is their movement off the ball. You saw Adamek be the highest player at that point. She obviously isn't up there. You see Pridham really coming off the front. They create a lot of space for their teammates to be able to expose that exact space that they just created, and they do a very good job at that. Smith
forward now. Smith Boychuk, the shot in! Oh, and on her toes had to be Molly Erickson, punching the ball away.
Big save for Molly Erickson to be able to get her hand on that. This is a great effort. Boychuk is not a player you want striking on your goal. I'm not sure if she was attempting to strike that on goal or get that cross into Sauvé. She was right there if Erickson wasn't going to get her hand on that. That was a great team effort by Montreal to create something.
Smith on the ball. Ball in. Scott trying for the tackle on Whitaker. Whitaker trying to go 1v1. Ball's in, and Erickson there to topple on top.
You saw Bibeau put her hands up. I think she wanted that back to be able to really have a better angle than Whitaker to potentially get the ball in the box.
You saw the fingertips there of Marie-Soleil Baudouin. FIFA rule, 8-second rule. So she has to have a visual count as well as a count out loud for goalkeepers for delay of game. Of course, Baudouin is such an experienced official. Gibson looking forward. DB Pridham giving chase all the way back to Karpenko.
Montreal looking very calm, cool, and collected on the ball. They don't look like they're rushed. They're feeling confident.
One back by Ottawa. Gibson. Forward to Fridland. She's got to put the Jets on. Has it. Looking for Chu. Chu, another South Korean international. Gibson. Patience to earn a throw.
Again, Peterson did mention to us that she wanted her team to defend with that front foot mentality and be able to win the ball and higher up the pitch, and that's exactly what they're doing. We are seeing a bit more of an aggressive approach in their very organized defending.
Fridland and Bibeau with the battle. Popped out to Montreal. And Boychuk and Scott going at each other. Boychuk, 1v1, trying to slip it through to Paquin. And it'll be out for a corner kick.
It's a great fight by Boychuk. She is not someone that is going to go down without a fight. She's able to beat Desiree Scott here. That is a great attempt by Scott, and she's able to just keep going. It doesn't matter who's trying to take her down. This is good recognition to try to play Paquin in, but unfortunately she was outnumbered there. It was very difficult to have that many Ottawa players surrounding you and to create something great out of it, so a corner is definitely the next best thing.
Smith into the box, the header away by Ottawa. Lee edged off the ball by Smith. Smith back to Karpenko, so a restart again. Karpenko says, let's settle in, let's get our shape back.
Montreal's doing a very good job at not allowing Lee any time and space. We saw what she did with minimal space, so I think that right now they're doing a good job at neutralizing her as a threat.
Bibeau turned over, was looking for the foul. Oh, tripping over her laces was Fridland.
Bibeau and Hess are doing a good job at finding those gaps, but unfortunately they do need to be a little quicker when they do have the ball at their feet. There just isn't enough time to do that. You're outnumbered in there. You know that you're always going to have someone coming at you, whether that's Pridham from, back pressing, or you have someone in the midfield really stepping up to apply that pressure.
Boychuk, relentless in attack. Boychuk to Sauvé, keeping it alive. Cross in, headed away by Holland.
I'm really loving that front-footed mentality from Wojcik that we're really seeing. She's brave. She's going at people 1v1, and you know, she's very resilient in the attack. That's one thing I absolutely love about her game. She does not give up. She's going to keep going at you time and time again.
Whitaker taking the inside, knocking outside to Paquin. Paquin against Chu. Ball in over top of the net.
It's a good idea. It's not always going to come off, but it is a great idea for her to try to get that ball in the box where her numbers are. And great movement for her to be able to pull out wide there to provide an option for Whitaker, who, you know, was left with very little. Good little foot skill. Just unfortunate that I wasn't able to keep it in bounds.
Just under 10 minutes remaining in this opening half. Montreal Roses, their home opener at Stade Boreal against Ottawa Rapid. Both of these teams undefeated on the season. The Rapid picking up a 2-1 win over AFC Toronto in their home opener at TD Place. While the Roses have been on the road, winning 2 in a row. Happy to be back home at this great atmosphere. Ooh! Wow. Now that was well won from Liv Scott, but that hurts.
She came through that at lightning speed. That shows her quality as well, to be able to read that and not only read it, but be able to beat Sauvé there, who was waiting for that ball. But that definitely didn't feel great.
No. So Liv Scott catching her breath. Katrin Peterson looking on. Take another look. This clearance from Karpenko.
Talk about putting your body on the line.
Ottawa's trainer putting Scott through the protocols here. Appears Scott is all right, but she'll gonna have to check out of the game here. Aurora, Ontario native, Liv Scott, 24-year-old. As we mentioned, first year pro, very impressive. Through one game at least, and impressive so far here from what we saw with that challenge.
Yeah, she carries herself with, and she plays with a lot of poise, and that's not something that you see in young players. It takes time to build that, but she's confident, she's poised, and she's not afraid to put her body on the line, as we did just see, and her ability to read those plays are huge.
Back on the pitch is Liv Scott. Lee's under pressure from Pridham. Pridham getting a toe on it. He'll go out of bounds for a throw.
We are seeing glimpses of Ottawa attempting to win that ball further up the pitch. I just think right now they are really missing, you know, that final gear and that final pass. It's not quite clean enough from them when they are able to regain in possession.
Chu looking for a target, finds one in Fridland. Won by Whitaker, who's yanked down by Lee, and Lee will get a yellow here for certain. Lee with the shirt tug.
You're seeing a bit of the frustration really start to come out and show.
So Mina Lee will go into Mary Soleil Baudouin's book.
Carton jaune à la numéro 14 du Ottawa Rapid FC, Mina Lee. Yellow card to number 14 of Ottawa Rapid FC, Mina Lee.
Lee will regroup as well. the Roses building from the back. There's Capadonna picked off. I said she rarely makes a mistake. There was one there. Lucky to get out of that. Smith. Boychuk all the way back.
I was just about to mention, you saw Tanya Boychuk drop all the way in there and realize that there was space. Unfortunately, the pass didn't come off, but she was floating in the correct space to be able to turn and potentially go forward and create something for her team. As we saw, when she has the ball on the dribble, she's very dangerous.
Chu and Paquin battling it out. Won by Fridland. Jaleesa Harris making no mistake by pushing it forward. There's DB Pridham. DB Pridham looking for a goal! Oh, and from distance, Pridham puts the Ottawa Rapid on top, 1-0.
What a great individual effort. That is what we've been speaking about. We knew Pridham is a player that can hurt you if you give her the opportunity. We haven't seen her get very many opportunities this game other than being physical defensively. She's doing all the work that she needs to do, and she's able to do that, fight defensively, win that ball, intense, and just slot it home.
Well, Katrina Peterson, their coach, describes DB Pridham as a relentless offensive goal scorer, and here she certainly shows that.
Yeah, this is just a great effort. She did not back down. She's like, bad touch, I'm taking that, thank you, and I'm gonna slot it home. I'm gonna absolutely try it from there.
Well, the Roses have not been scored on first, so we will see what the response is, but that is a goal from someone who, according to the coaches, always hungry for goal. DB Pridham.
It's a very well-deserved goal. She's been putting in the effort this entire half. We've seen her in her own half putting in that effort defensively to back press, making it very difficult for Montreal to build out of the back. So, very well-deserved goal.
By number 22, Delaney Faye Pridham.
DB Pridham, born in California, though has Canadian roots, so is a domestic player. Has been called into the Canadian camp before.
This also will potentially give Ottawa that momentum and that forward drive that we're sort of seeing lack from them. They've been so comfortable sitting a little further back, or that final pass hasn't been coming together. But sometimes when you do get a point on the scoreboard, you're able to use that momentum and continue to create more chances and potentially more goals.
Pridham poking the ball through, read by Hess. And now on the counter, it's Boychuk with lots of space. Boychuk going forward and looking for goal, blocked by Holland. Boychuk still at it. The cross in, looking for Paquin, the far post. Pridham turns, finds Fridland. Fridland does well to keep that in bounds. Adamek looking to hold up against 5 Roses.
Overall, Montreal is doing a very good job at regaining that ball in possession and starting an offensive play that's dangerous. Tanya Boychuk has been huge for them. We've seen 3 times where she's able to come back, regain possession, and just drive forward. She hasn't had numbers with her, and that's where it's fallen apart. But Rosatoyu has spoken about, wanting that decision-making in transition to be better. So I think right now that is what's lacking a little bit. There isn't numbers around the ball for Tanya to have options, but she's doing a great job at regaining that and going at pace. Sort of just need other people to be on the same page as her and maybe make some more movements off the ball.
Look at the possession numbers just up on the upper left-hand side of your screen. 59% for the Roses so far. It is a 1-0 lead from the Ottawa Rapid on the road. There's the drummers. I gotta say, if you've listened to me on the broadcast, I like a good drum crew, but I like the steel pan myself.
I think I'd love to hear you play that.
No, I don't play it, but I'm a listener. I'm a listener. Jaleesa Harris, who's on loan to Ottawa from the Houston Dash. Been very solid in the back line.
Montreal just taking their time. There's no reason for them to rush it up. Find the right opportunity to play that, find your players, making those runs, the movement off the ball. They're doing a good job right now, just staying calm.
And Ottawa closing down those channels. There's not a lot going forward. Lee's trying to go up over top, and that'll go all the way to Eriksson.
It's a good idea to look direct. There are obviously opportunities that, you know, that's going to work out, but there wasn't much room in behind Abdu to make something out of a ball over the top. So it's in those moments that the decision making needs to be a little better. If you don't have feet, just potentially go back and re-swing the ball. There, you are, I know obviously you are down. You do want opportunities to come your way, but forcing it is not going to do that.
Well turned by Adamek. Adamek against Smith and picks up a corner kick. So perhaps a late chance here for the Ottawa Rapid. Karpenko encouraging her defenders. We see 4 minutes of added time.
Un minimum de 4 minutes additionnelles.
In this opening half.
4 minutes additional.
Desi Scott parked in front of Karpenko. Smith pushing the ball forward to Whitaker, and that will go out of touch.
That was a good ball in. I also think that, you know, in the first matchup against Toronto, we did see Karpenko hesitate a little bit anytime there was a corner kick that dropped in the corner of that 6 far post. So I think it would be very helpful for Ottawa to continue to play those balls in there, drop it in there, have their runners really crash the box, just to test if Karpenko still has that little hesitation.
Ottawa throw. Pridham to Lee. Lee up high and over top of the net. Karpenko guiding that out.
You're seeing Pridham hold off about 4 people there, really trying to create something out of it and find Lee's feet.
Sauvé, nice step over the ball. Back in, Ottawa now finds themselves caught. Great recovery from Fridland to get back and challenge Hess in time.
It's those transitional moments that you want Montreal to be able to expose Ottawa on the flanks. That is where they're going to be able to expose them. It's not in the center of the field. They are going to have numbers up there. So it would have been helpful to have some runners coming down the flanks, create those overloads, and potentially get the ball back into the box where you do have people crashing. But right now, you're not going to be able to just run straight down the middle and break them down there.
Harris pumping the ball forward, but no one is giving chase. Pridham getting boxed out by Lees. Abdu, nice turn. Abdu with some space. Abdu, can she lay in Boychuk? She does, but that'll be offside. The Ottawa line well played, and you can see Holland there saying, well done, well done.
Yeah, that was a great play by Ottawa to recognize that. Boychuk needs to be able to pull her run a little further out wide, the opposite way, away from the ball, to come back towards Abdu and really create that diagonal run. But that was a good idea by Abdu. Cheeky little move at the beginning, and that we're seeing her come alive, and I'm excited to see what she brings in the second half, because I do think she's a huge threat for them on this right flank.
1 minute left of added time. Minimum.
Pridham absolutely no time.
Bibeau trying to escape and escapes with a call, and she says, hey, my jersey, it's a nice one. I don't want it wrecked. And Lee's got to be careful because she's on a card. Well, there is the whistle to signal the 45 minutes is up. Eventful first half with DB Pridham, the only goal for the Ottawa Rapid. They take a 1-0 lead at Stade Boreal, but you have a feeling the Roses have a lot more fight in them. Stay with us. More to come.
I think Montreal's going to be a very strong team, so I think there'll be a East kind of rivalry maybe between us and Montreal.
I love a good rivalry, and I think there definitely will be some that develop. Like I think of Ottawa and Montreal. That seems like a fun one to me.
Me being from Vancouver, the biggest rivalry is going to be Toronto-Vancouver, and that game will be very telling, I think. We'll let the game speak for itself.
I definitely have a personal connection to Toronto. That East Coast, West Coast conversation that I feel like I always had with my Vancouver friends growing up of like what city was better and whatnot. And so I think that'll be a fun rivalry.
I could see maybe a Vancouver-Toronto. I think those of us from the West Coast like to think that, you know, people in Toronto maybe think they're the center of the world. So I could see that. That's a bit of a thing for us West Coasters.
For me personally, Toronto as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to beat Toronto in Toronto.
We're doing a lot of media stuff today, and like I genuinely like everybody, so it's like I have to like build this rivalry now.
I think for our team, we actually have a lot of people that are from Quebec. I have a feeling that there'll be a little bit of a rivalry between Montreal and Halifax.
My early money is on the Roses out of Montreal. We can't have a rivalry in Vancouver. They're so far, right?
I feel like Toronto-Ottawa is going to be a rivalry. That's obvious, same province.
Yeah, so I'm a prairie girl at heart, so I'm coming over to Ottawa, new territory in Ontario. But I've already heard like the rumblings, like when the schedule came out, like we've got Toronto. I'm like, oh, like great matchup. They're like, no, like I feel like it means a little bit more to some of the, you know, local Ontarian people. I'm here for it. Let's build it up.
I could see like Toronto-Montreal. It's just history. And they're probably going to go at it. I feel like we're kind of going to be there just competing with everybody, but we won't have a rivalry. If one day there's a Quebec team, then there'll be a rivalry. We'll see. I don't know.
I think it was the Halifax team.
They said we were?
They said potentially Montreal.
Oh, interesting.
My partner plays for Montreal, so maybe that naturally will be quite an interesting matchup. And I'll look forward to those games.
The league is only made up of 6 teams, so I think that every game is going to be a rivalry. You're playing to win, like you play the same team, it's going to be tough. And because we play each team so many times, I think it's going to be like, okay, they won last time, we're going to win this time.
Relationship towards Montreal, I mean, it's like, it's the French, and that sounds awful. We're gonna cut that out. Montreal's gritty. It was really cool. When I played with the national team, we were in Montreal and their fan base is awesome. They're very loud, they're very in your face, but like, I love that as a player, but like, to be against that, it's gonna be something else, so it'll be exciting. Oh my God, I was like, it's the French. I'm like,
the Northern Super League halftime presented by BMO. We're taking a look inside Stade Boreal, and you see the diverse and creative ownership group led by Dragon Isabelle Chevalier and Jean-Francois Crevier, and several athletes and celebrities and business folk in the Montreal area who've put their money where their mouth is in supporting women's professional football in Montreal. Well, speaking of halftime show, it was a show in the first half from DB Pridham, and they got Ottawa on the go late in the half in the 40th minute.
They sure did. This was great by her to be able to recognize, hey, I'm going to keep going. That was a bad touch, and I'm going to try it from here because why not? I have the quality to do it, and we've been wanting to see her really come alive, and this is just her intensity. This is her resilience and her quality at the end. That's where you see just how great she is and why you can't have her facing forward towards your goal because she will punish you. Very well placed by her.
Pleased was Katrina Peterson. And DB says, that was me. So it's 1-0 for the Ottawa Rapid, but the Montreal Roses had plenty of chances in this first half, including Hayley Whitaker off the woodwork. It almost looked like deja vu from the game against the Vancouver Rise last week, where Whitaker got the first goal, only to be denied this time.
Yeah, and it was coming from Sauvé as well. I definitely thought this was a great ball in, and great on Whitaker to get forward and get in the box, because that is what you need. You need numbers flooding that box, and just great on her to redirect that in, potentially going in, hitting the crossbar, or somebody else is going to get on the end of that. So that was a great run in by Whitaker, great intensity, great resilience, just exactly what you want from her in the attack.
So that wasn't the only opportunity of the half. This time, Molly Erickson had to be on her toes to get rid of this chance from Tanya Boychuk.
Yeah, Tanya Boychuk was coming at their back line. This is great from her. I'm not sure if she was attempting to shoot that or cross that. Either way, that was a quality strike. She was able to create something out of a really weird angle. So that just shows, you know, how great Tanya Boychuk is and how dangerous she is as well.
Well, we've seen like a tremendous amount of skill in this match as well, and the fans were certainly had to be entertained, whether it was a little turn here and there, a little mag here and there, but certainly the show was put on from both Montreal and Ottawa.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of great stuff from them. Cool little cheeky moves, just the quality of the players that are on the pitch, showing it time and time again through their individual skill. I think overall we're seeing a lot of great things this matchup. I would really like to see Ottawa, you know, control when they do win the ball in transition, to be able to connect that final pass and create more opportunities as they did with that goal. However, I think that Montreal, they're really on the front foot and one's coming.
Well, the fans have been enjoying the show so far, although they'd probably like their team to get back on the scoreboard. Great atmosphere at Stade Boreal. Billy DuPage and the halftime show here. We'll have more of the halftime show and what's been happening around the Northern Super League when we come back. The halftime, brought to you by BMO. Welcome back to our halftime show, brought to you by BMO. Well, it's a beautiful day, maybe a little overcast for football in Laval, Quebec, the largest suburb outside of Montreal. But let's bring you up to speed on what's been happening in the NSL earlier this week. AFC Toronto home opener at York Lions Stadium against the Calgary Wild, and this, Jess, was the Esther Okoronkwo show.
It absolutely was. This is such a nice ball in by Manor to play direct. Okoronkwo does so good to bring it down, is able to find Small and does that quick little transition play, gets it back into space, and is able to slot it home like the pro that she is.
Soggy night it was at York Lions Stadium, but boy, the action was hot. This one, Victoria Pickett leading it off, and then Okoronkwo doing what she does best.
Victoria Pickett, the transition queen, I'm going to make that stick, but Okoronkwo does so awesome here. She's able to see that she has time, she has space, and she says, you're going to give me that much time? Watch what I'm going to do. Is able to bend that in that far corner. Just world class from her.
Everyone's still talking about that goal from Okoronkwo. Calgary was able to get on the board, though, off a set piece, and it was their captain, Michaela Moore.
This is a nice ball in by Doherty Howard. It was perfectly placed, and it was very difficult for Moore to be able to get that redirected towards goal, but awesome on her to be able to redirect that towards net and then get one for them.
So AFC's Toronto's first victory, and they pick it up against the Calgary Wild 2-1. One more game to go this week, and that will be the first coastal battle of the season. The East Coast Halifax Tides on the road to Swangard Stadium on the West Coast against the Vancouver Rise. Well, back to the match at hand. Our Andy Petrillo had the chance to speak to Montreal co-captain Tanya Boychuk earlier this week.
So great joining me now, Tanya Boychuk of Montreal. Thanks for taking the time. And I mean, now I've been asking players for so long, are you envisioning what it's going to feel like when you step out onto the pitch? Can you imagine what it's going to feel like when you step out onto the pitch? And now that you finally did it, that first game there against AFC Toronto, how did it feel?
Crazy. It was crazy. Obviously, we knew it was going to be a packed up stadium, over 14,000 fans, but during warm-up, people were trickling in. But up until we were walking out through the tunnel and you could just hear the crowd roaring. And then when I looked up and looked around, I was like, wow, we're doing it. It's really happening. It was a surreal moment walking out. It makes it just so much more special. I've been away from Canada for 7 years now, since 2018. So it being in Canada makes it that much more special. Seeing all the Canadian flags as I was walking out, like that's what really made the experience.
It may not have been the first in NSL history that went to Quinn in a penalty shot, but you do get the first from open play. What did it feel like when you just put the ball in the back of the net? Was it excitement or was it just relief that you were able to score so early?
Honestly, I blacked out. Right when I got the ball, I was running with it. I'm like, okay, this is happening. I was like, I need to capitalize on this opportunity because you don't get these type of balls all the time. And after the ball left my foot, I don't even remember what happened. You can see the celebration. I was just running away from my teammates. I was like, it was a crazy moment. Super grateful and honored that I could finish it for my team and we could get the win out of it.
Let's talk about a player who has been an inspiration to a lot of young soccer players in this country, and that, of course, is Desiree Scott, who announced her retirement, still playing in NSL action. I know you've had some encounters there, but on the national team level, have you had encounters with her? I mean, what has she meant to maybe even, how she's influenced you being a part of soccer, and especially when it comes to representing the Maple Leaf?
Yeah, so I was at a camp a couple years back, a senior national team camp, and she was there, and she was one of the players that every time she walks into a room, it's just vibrant. She really lifts up the room on and off the pitch. And then also we had a little NSL gathering a couple of weeks back, and she's just a great leader. I think a lot of girls will follow her footsteps, and I think it's really exciting. And yeah, I'm excited to play against her and just look up to her throughout the season as well.
Doesn't mean you're going to take it easy on her, though, right?
Oh, of course not. No. On the pitch, it's a different story.
I guess you're going to have to stay tuned and watch.
That's what makes it exciting. Tanya, you've been an absolute pleasure to talk to. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tanya Boychuk really brings so much joy, doesn't she? Listen, that first half, intensity, physicality, as you see here in the statistics, but possession definitely stands out, Jess.
Yeah, absolutely. Montreal had that how the game looked, honestly. Montreal was all over the ball. I think Ottawa's sitting a little far back. They are picking their moments to be great in transition, but I just don't think they had the ball enough at their feet, and I think that's something that they can improve on going into the second half.
But in the end, one shot on target, and it's in from DB Pridham. So it is the Ottawa Rapid with the 1-0 lead. 45 minutes left to play, and the Montreal Roses have been out on the pitch this entire time, warming up, loosening up. You know that they want to protect their fortress, as Coach Robert Rosatoyu told us this week. That's their goal, and they certainly look good in the first half, just missing a little bit of that finishing touch.
He also mentioned they are used to scoring, so early on, and that's not something that's going to happen every game, but the competitor in him loves that. He loves the challenge, and I'm sure these ladies are absolutely up for it. A 1-0 lead is not a comfortable one.
So Melanie Forbes into the match for Johanna Friedland. The only change at the half. Melanie Forbes, who started the last match, comes into the second here.
I think that's a good addition. Forbes added a lot of attacking threat for Ottawa in that first game.
Abdu. Montreal on the front foot right away. Abdu, the cross. And it'll go out for a goal kick.
Right now it is that final pass. That's just what's lacking a little bit. They're creating chances, and I do think it will come. I think they're going to find their footing, and their intensity is there, their resilience is there, and as long as you have that front-footed mentality, as we've seen they do, I do think that they could potentially get themselves on the board if they just continue to go at Ottawa's back line.
Lisa Harris playing it inside, and Montreal picking it off, and the shot over the bar, but nearly a goal for the Montreal Roses. So perhaps that early warm-up out of the tunnel first.
They're giving Ottawa very little time. You see this, you got double team. Paquin is coming back to do her job, and Sauvé's in the perfect spot to try it. Why not? Top of the 18, well struck, just had to get over it tiny bit. You see her lean back there, which is causing it to go over the bar.
So a chance from co-captain Megan Sauvé. You see her there, a leader for the Montreal Carabins in youth sports, winning 2 youth sports championships in her career.
She's also a player that Rosatoyu mentioned to us, she almost needs the green light. She's used to playing as more of that in that full-back role, and sometimes you see her almost hesitate to be so forward-minded. So it is great to see her coming alive and trying in that final third to strike on goal from distance and just show what she is great at, because she does have great feet. She does have a great forward mentality.
Pushing the ball forward now to Paquin. Paquin. Across now to Whitaker. Whitaker going 1v1. Off the back of Chu, headed away by Scott.
You see there again, Signa, it's very middle heavy. You're seeing a lot of numbers. Ottawa's very much congesting that middle of the park, and you saw on both sides of Paquin, if she was able to go back the way she came, there was going to be that option for an overlapping run, or potentially switch the ball as she did and spray it out wide to the opposite side.
Early corner kick for the Montreal Roses in the early minutes of this second half. Third corner of the match is 3 times the charm. Smith driving the ball in. The header up and cleared from Liv Scott.
I'm glad that someone was able to get on the end of that.
Oh, headed in! The stop by Eriksson! Adamek. Getting the ball forward. Pridham and Gibson. Gibson, nice job shielding. Adamek's off touch. A little too heavy. But Montreal was lurking on that.
Yeah, just to finish my thought, it is great that someone was able to get on the end of that, but those balls do need to be driven a little harder. It is easier to, redirect towards the goal and create a better opportunity than with that floater, especially with an in-swinger. But Montreal did very well to keep that ball in Ottawa's half and not give them any time to clear it.
Thibault taken down, wants the call, didn't get one, and the ball sent in was maybe looking for Karpenko off her line, but she wasn't off her line.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of, having to recognize and make those right decisions in those transitional moments. Pridham did well to have that physical play and create something.
Paquin looking towards goal. Ericsson's there at the near post. Well, Tanya Boychuk has been lurking, hasn't she? And take a look at this opportunity.
She is someone that is coming alive constantly in that final third. She's fierce, she's going to get in the box, and she is going to be the person that if you make a mistake, even if you take one little misstep, she's going to catch you, and that's just a perfect example of what she can do.
Lovely release pass from Pridham to Lee and Adamek now. Liv Scott driving the cross in, Karpenko there to pull it out of the air.
Ottawa is also doing well to get numbers forward, to be able to support Pridham. Sometimes when you are playing in this formation with a lone striker, there's times that the striker is isolated and left alone. So I do think that right now they are doing well to get numbers below her to create some attacking opportunities, but that final pass is just really missing.
Smith finding Sauvé. Sauvé, far post! And it goes out for a goal kick, but Montreal really pushing when they have possession.
You are seeing the trend. This is where they need to continue to take advantage. You need to go out wide. You saw Scott have to shift all the way over to really try to deal with that, and she was a little late to it. Sauvé has so much time to just continue to create crosses and opportunities on goal.
Woo! Little careless there. Definitely a lively start to this second half. Ottawa pushing forward now. Taken away from Pridham. Gibson will clear the ball downfield. Capadonna will restart. Karpenko. Capadonna. Smith. The first touch got her out of trouble. And Thibault, that great left-footed pass to Latifa Abdou. Abdou looking for goal. Oh, another rocket from Latifa Abdou. Back-to-back goals and back-to-back screamers.
We called it, Signa. We said she had another one in her. That was absolutely beautiful once again. I think we're gonna have to start saying bend it like Abdou, because that was awesome. I mean, from that distance, again, showing her quality, not afraid to take people on. You love to see it.
Striker's mindset, and it's a 1-1 game.
First off, this is a great switch of play by Thibault to notice that Abdou was there. The flank play is huge, and her ability to just, you know what? I'm going to take this shot, I'm going to strike it, and I promise you this is going in because I know I have the confidence to do it. And this is just such quality from her. Absolute banger. And you can see her, how hyped she is, how happy she is. I think we're about to unlock a whole new level of Abdou.
So 1-1 game. Montreal Roses out on the front foot in this second half and rewarded with a goal from their first ever signing, Latifa Abdou. You know, having someone with the quality of Thibault, who almost didn't have to look.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's huge. Again, in this tactical formations, you're going to have to exploit the weaknesses, and for Ottawa, that is where they are going to be able to exploit them and take advantage and find those players on the flank. You know, Abdu is a player that has so much quality. At one point, you thought potentially that's going to get caught up in her feet, but she was able to create so much out of it because of the kind of player she is and her ability to hit a ball on a dime.
Ottawa Rapid with a dangerous free kick.
I would love to see them really just drop this in between the 6 and the runners. That way it's hard for Karpenko to be able to read it.
Chu running over top. Forbes trying to swing across in, can't get it in. They will reset. Ball cleared from Lees.
That was definitely mishit. She definitely didn't mean to do that. I think that she wanted to get a little bit of power on it, but she ended up striking through it a little more than adding that necessary float that was needed to create something out of that.
The wave going around Stade Boreal. Here's Abdu again. Covered by Chu. Abdu looking for Boychuk, couldn't convert. And Forbes will give it a haul into the stands.
Boychuk did well to come off the front there and flick that ball onto Abdu, who's able again to show her athleticism and her pace.
Abdu again looking for a shot. Will earn a corner kick. So the fire has been lit. Latifa Abdu. Another Montreal Roses corner. The 5,000 plus fans here at Stade Boreal. They want another one. Smith. Boychuk getting a touch to Bibo. Smith. Boychuk does well to keep that ball. Smith to cross in. Up and away. Forbes and Abdu colliding. And Abdu will receive a yellow in this match, so second yellow we've seen.
Montreal is doing a very good job overall at winning that second ball. And then that's really important, especially when you are in the attacking half and you don't want the ball to leave the opponent's 18-yard box. They're doing really well to keep the pressure on and just continue to go at Ottawa.
Latifa Abdu, yellow card on the Rose FC side, number 99, Latifa Abdu.
Pridham looking to lay off. And does this time to Gibson.
You're also seeing that switch play on for Ottawa. If they are able to stretch Montreal's back line, that's going to be very helpful for them. So I would like to see them find that as well. It is on time and time again.
So Latifa Abdu's goal in the 52nd minute. The equalizer right now. As Ottawa settles into the second half, it's been a feverish pace in the opening minutes. DB Pridham trying to make that forward run, but Forbes can't find her. Desi Scott does well to win that ball. Mina Lee.
You see Bibo getting frustrated, but it is very difficult in that situation to find Hess. She's going to have Desiree Scott right on her back. It's not easy to combine when you do have just the two in the midfield against a very solid Ottawa midfield.
Bibo getting lots of attention from the Ottawa Rapid. There is the 34-year-old veteran from Saint-Doulchard, Quebec. Sorry, Saint-Doulchard, France, I should say. But right at home here in Quebec, of course. Ball over top, Paquin. Boychuk. Taken down, they'll play advantage. Abdu. High cross. Paquin nearly at the end of it. Thibault! Why not have a go?
I think one thing that's really fun about Montreal is each game we're seeing their forwards really come together and start to get that fluency amongst them. We're seeing little combination play between Paquin and Boychuk and bringing Abdu into the mix, or potentially Sauvé if it's on the other side. I think right now they are a team that's very exciting to watch up front.
Holland breaking that line forward to Lee, tries to flick it through. And out for a throw. Pass. Abdu laying off for Whitaker. Cuts inside. Lee. Pridham, the touch off by Forbes, and that was a heavy tackle from Smith. Smith pushing forward, edged out by Desi Scott. Scott will get it out for a throw.
That was a good win by Smith to be able to step in there. Very hard win. I do think in that moment, you know, Paquin could have potentially gave her a little more. She was left hanging a little bit. So would have loved to see an option off the ball for her.
Substitution for Ottawa Rapid FC. Sortie de la numéro 14, Mina Lee.
So Julia Benatti coming in to the match for Mina Lee.
Changement à la 61e minute. Substitution at 61.
Similar substitution to what we saw last match. Benatti coming in for the final 12 minutes. So a little bit more time this time around for the...
I've actually played against
I was just about to say,
yeah.
I was going to say FC London in League One Ontario, right?
Yeah, she's great. She is a force up top. I will say that in the middle of the park. She's very smart when she has the ball at her feet. She's very good 1v1, and she's not afraid to strike from distance. I thought Lee was great today. I don't think she was on the ball as much as she would have liked to be. We did see her get taken out quite a few times, but I think Benatti is a great substitute in that role, and she will definitely help Ottawa in the attack.
4 times named the midfielder of the year in League One Ontario. And another Canadian able to play professional soccer at home. Paquin. Lovely skill from Paquin. Whitaker. Thibault. Knock out to Abdu.
We are seeing a very patient Montreal side. I know I mentioned that a little earlier, but we're seeing Paquin do very well to come off the front and spray that ball out wide, specifically because they do have 2 midfielders right now. You have Hess and you have Bibeau, you're seeing Hess get a little higher, Bibeau sit, but it is helpful to have a player like Paquin really coming off the front and being able to play as almost like a 10 at times.
Hess and Bibeau. Playing Bibeau. Tackled, holding her ankle. Lees, Capadonna. Across the back. Sauvé. Hess. Tackled by Pridham.
It's good defensive work by Pridham.
Harris. Holland playing. Here comes that press from Boychuk. Harris looking for Gibson, but skips over the foot of Smith, and Forbes is giving chase, putting some pressure on. A little too much pressure.
I think it's also a mix of a bit of frustration at this point. Mel Forbes she wasn't able to receive that ball. It sort of bounced over her. She misread it. Just a bit of frustration, I think, from her. Again, well in by Smith to be able to go. Very brave. That's what you want from your fullbacks.
Sauvé looking to go one-on-one against Harris. Harris breaks that up and will put it out for a throw-in. Almost 20 minutes into the second half. 1-1 match so far, Bibo. Smith has been very active this game for the cross out by Forbes. First half goal by DB Pridham in the 40th minute. Countered by Latifa Abdu in the 52nd minute. And that's where we stand right now.
One thing to notice too is you're seeing how low Ottawa really is getting. You have Scott and Gibson really holding on the top of that 18. They're active in the 18. You see her right there, keeping an eye on Boychuk as well, making sure that she's not able to get away from Olivia Scott. So I think that is allowing Bibo to get on the ball and potentially create opportunities to get the ball back in the box. A lot of time and space for them.
Capadonna will go back to Karpenko, who's off her line. Karpenko, lovely to find Sauvé. Sauvé beats Forbes. Sauvé with the low cross. Looking forward from DB Pridham. Pridham on the go. Closed down by Smith. Pridham was by herself.
We did see what she can do up there by herself with individual effort, but unfortunately that's just not going to happen time and time again. It's very difficult to create anything out of that. I spoke about that's one thing that is really hard when you do play in this formation and not being able to have someone get under your striker in time. They leave them up there very isolated and left to do everything on their own.
Broken up by Gibson. Benatti.
Even there, you see her checking her shoulder. She needs more options. There's not enough movement off the ball right now.
Pass with some space. Broken up by Scott, who scoops it forward, but couldn't get it to Adamak. Abdu gonna go 1v1 and was looking for Sauvé, who was making a breaking run forward. Do a little footwork, but out for the throw.
I think right now, too, what you're seeing from Ottawa, in their first matchup, they were very connected within their lines and also between their lines, whether that was the forward line to the midfield line and so on. I think right now we are seeing a bit of a division. You're seeing, again, Scott and Gibson hang a little lower, and Benatti in that situation where she was all alone. She's trying to look for Forbes, she's trying to look for Pridham, but there's just not very many options below her because there is too big of a gap right now between their lines.
The physicality has continued in this second half. Bibo getting up from a double challenge, winning the free kick. Benatti. Forbes. Benatti slowing the ball down. And Paquin able to get a handle on it. And Paquin just so nimble getting by Desiree Scott, but Scott comes back to push her off the ball. Sauvé. Abdu Looking for goal. Harris tries to get it out. Can't quite get it out of the half.
I don't want to be that person because I love the bravery, but I do think that Abdu also needs to recognize when the shot is not on.
Whitaker. The cross in. The header. Oh, what a finish from Tanya Boychuk.
There it is. There it is. I mean, we've been waiting for Boychuk to get on the board. She's been absolutely awesome tonight for Montreal in that final third. Whether she had the ball in transition and running at people or just creating problems for the back line in the box with her movements. That was a great finish by her.
Which one, the goal or the back touch?
I mean, yeah, both. And again, both being at the beginning of this, being able to find Whitaker and switch that ball. Great work by Whitaker to take it down and recognize, hey, I'm going to get this in. And Boychuk, her timing, everything immaculate. The way she was able to redirect that towards the goal. This is just a great team goal. And they're doing a great job again at exposing Ottawa's weakness. Here it is. Boom. Landed.
Just so you know, she was a Canadian class diver at one point, winning a couple bronze medals at the Junior Pan Am Championships in diving.
Imagine being that great at two things.
At two things, and she had to make a decision. Also a Ukrainian dancer, I understand, so she has a multi-talented Tanya Boychuk.
I actually didn't know this about her.
She's been keeping secrets from you.
She has been. What kind of a teammate does that?
But Boychuk, the Edmonton native.
It's also great to see her lip get back down to its regular size after that knock she took in the last matchup.
Numéro 3, Kayla Adamek. Pour la numéro 98, Stella Downing.
So Kayla Adamek coming out of the match, and Stella Downing coming in, the 22-year-old from Vancouver.
Minute 71.
Former Canadian Youth International out of the Whitecaps Rex program, academy out there. So Ottawa Rapid trailing. They win this ball back. Benatti was looking for DB Pridham. Couldn't get it there. Bibo picks it up and finds Abdu on the run. Perfectly placed. Abdu. Some step overs. Boychuk to Abdu. Abdu across. Oh, in the open net. Megan Sauvé launches it over top, and she can't believe it.
This is such a great build-up. This is great pace by Abdu. Quick little move, quick little 1-2. Great ball back by Boychuk. And to cross this back, that was a great cross. Paquin obviously overran it. And Sauvé just really needs to get her body over the ball. She's leaning back a little too much. Probably so much excitement and nerves. And but that was a great build-up. And again, be both finding that ball and sending it out to the flank for Abdu to really take people on.
Non, mais regarde là pour aller voir le match. Là, les Roses, ils marquent.
Gibson.
Quand ils vont marquer un but, il va être là.
Back to Holland. Holland and Gibson. Nice turn. A nice space. Downing. Downing going 1v1. Pridham! Karpenko comes off her line and makes the stop. Pridham is down. She took a heavy hit off the ground, off the turf.
Looked like she landed quite hard there. I think she might have hit her head on the way down.
Trainers will come out. Let's take another look.
So I do just want to say, Julia Benatti did a really good job at finding that. Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a hard landing. She did a very good job at exposing and finding that space that we spoke about earlier, Signa, in behind Bibo and Hess, especially at this point in the game when there is some fatigue. If you are able to find that, sit right in front of Capadona and Lees and allow Pridham to get free, that is where they are going to thrive and potentially get themselves back on the board.
Well, an opportunity there for the Ottawa Rapid, and now they hold their breath because DB Pridham, who scored the opening goal of this match in the 40th minute, remains down, being checked out from the Ottawa medical staff. Another look. Downing, nice release pass.
It's also the second knock she took to her head today.
So a couple changes already from the Ottawa Rapid. 3. May look at a substitution here. Remains to be seen, but Montreal, no changes yet. Crowd on hand. Wonderful crowd at Stade Montréal. But whoa, what a second half it's been for the Roses. Down 1-0, and they came out firing. Latifa Abdu, another rocket.
I mean, I'm over here grinning ear to ear. I know no one can see that, but these are just such great goals. And I mean, that's the icing on the cake, because wow, I would not get up after that. I would not be able to land that.
And it's a different way that the Montreal Roses have found themselves in the lead. In the previous 2 matches, it was scoring early, 2 minutes into their game against AFC Toronto, 3 goals in the first half against Vancouver Rise, and this was a different one. They had to come from behind so far.
Yeah, and I think one thing, you've heard the word be used, whether we've been speaking to the coach or we've been speaking to a player, they keep using the word and the term resilient, and that's what they want. They want to be, that to be a part of their DNA, and as we've seen, it doesn't matter if they are ahead or if they are behind, they are going to bring that resilient mindset, and they're going to fight to the final minute, and we're seeing that. We're seeing them create a lot of great chances and getting on the end of them as well now.
So DB Pridham able to walk off on her own account, and we'll see if there's any changes being made, but precautionary reasons. They may take her out of latch. Thumbs down to the bench, so expect to see another change. Benatti getting the cross in, and Karpenko had to be offered line because the Rapid were lurking.
Good energy by Downing to be able to get there and apply that pressure and not make it easy.
Please. Smith gets by Forbes. Looking to get the ball forward. Holland will not take any chances and get that forward.
Smith has been having a great game in her 1v1 battle. She's been doing awesome offensively, and defensively she's been solid.
Boychuk closed down by 3 Ottawa players. Chu now pushing forward, but won't get too far because Bibo is there. All the way back to Lees.
Anna, j'ai une question pour toi. Est-ce que tu sais pourquoi la gardienne de but, son chandail, il n'est pas la même couleur que les autres joueuses? Est-ce que tu veux essayer de deviner pourquoi?
Hess.
C'est que elle a le droit d'attraper le ballon avec ses mains. C'est mon arbitre qui s'avance qui a le droit d'attraper le ballon avec ses mains. Elle a un chandail.
Knocked out by Scott.
Changement du côté du Rapide.
Just over
d'Ottawa.
10 minutes
Substitution for Ottawa
remaining
FC.
in this half, and Latifa Abdu, who got the scoring started from the Roses, will come take a seat, but she came out firing.
Yeah, she was firing on all cylinders today. She had a great matchup. We did see her really come alive in that second half specifically. We spoke about wanting to see her bring it today, and we saw her bring it last game, and once again, she delivered today.
Lori Thibault coming into the game, 25-year-old from Blainville, Quebec.
Là, elle a changé. Il y a quelqu'un qui est joué à sa place. Elle a marqué un but tantôt. Regarde ici. Soit tu te mets sur la clôture,
And Ugarte on as a concussion sub for DB Pridham, who's coming out of the match. Minutes now for the Ottawa Rapid to see if they can tie up this match. The Roses, though, this second half has been a turnaround, that's for sure. Paquin.
Great touch inside by Whitaker.
Outside, there is Thibault. Thibault with the cross in. Headed away by Holland. Not out of danger yet. Thibault again. This time a left foot. Hess. Squeezing the ball through to Boychuk.
Just overhit, but Montreal is doing a very great job. Again, they're constantly exposing that flank play, getting the ball in the box. Those two deliveries weren't the best. I think on the first one, Paquin sort of hesitated, and that's maybe where she wasn't able to challenge. But I do think that if they continue, even within these last few minutes, I think that they're able to get another one if they continue to expose that side.
Holland out to Liv Smith. Scott, pardon me. Desi Scott. This is better from Ottawa. Gibson picked off though. And Thibault on it. Boychuk. Going forward with purpose, but will pause and reset.
In that situation, she really has no choice. You saw the amount of numbers that Ottawa got back. They are not allowing Boychuk to have any time on that ball, and rightfully so.
Sauvé blocked by Liv Scott. Hess. Ooh. And out for a corner kick.
Hess has also had a really great matchup today. She's very good at being the person to connect. You see her always providing an option. She's doing well to find the gaps and find the channels and provide not only options for her teammates, but also get herself in situations where she's able to run at the back line and create something for her side.
They want a goal. You can hear the fans yelling for it. Downing. Forward for Forbes. Forbes pushing forward, and that's Downing. Cleared away. Paquin coming all the way back.
That was a great ball through by Forbes to attempt to find Downing. Just a little overhit. She wasn't able to get to it. But this is what you want. You want Ottawa in these transitional moments to be able to, look up, have numbers around, and this little slip ball through is exactly what you want. But that is great defensive effort by, is that Paquet? Is she all the way back there?
She's all the way back there.
That's what you love to see.
Cross in, but out of bounds.
And again, that speaks to the resilience of Montreal. You have a player like Paquet who is, awesome for them on the other side of the ball, and she's constantly putting in that effort and getting back. There's no way that she's that first person back there, so you just knew she threw the jets on and gave it her all.
Ball forward to Thibault. That's out of bounds.
Boychuk's doing really well to win those aerial balls and not only win them, but actually create something out of it. Flick on balls. Those are not easy to do.
Boychuk. Back to Thibault. Trying to thread the needle to Boychuk, but the run wasn't there.
5 plus 5, à peu près 5 plus 4. Ça va être dire, quand ça va à 90, ça va...
Changement du côté du Rapide d'Ottawa. Substitution for Ottawa Rapid FC.
Final substitution.
Numéro 19, number 19.
Sorry, not final substitution.
Pour le numéro 31,
Naomi
number
Lofthouse
21,
coming in
Naomi
for
Lofthouse.
Hyoju Chu.
Changement à la 86e minute. Change at minute 86.
Both Lofthouse and Ugarte are on youth development permits for today's match. And they're out of the Ottawa South United program, so really nice to see these younger players getting a sniff of what professional soccer is like.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's a great opportunity for them. It would be pretty crazy if either of them were the ones to tie the game up. There is still some time. You never know.
Less than 5 minutes plus some added time.
It also shows Peterson's faith in them and the quality that they bring to the game, no matter the age, just because.
Paquet trying to find a lane to shoot, broken up by Harris and Gibson. Gibson now. Downing can't handle that. Whitaker through. Whitaker tackled and picks up the free kick. Bibo and Sauvé on the ball.
You imagine they might go wide with this instead of getting it in the box, just sort of waste time.
Bibo. Looking for Paquet on the far post, but Eriksson is there.
Well, it was very incorrect on that one.
Holland. Harris. Off touch. Pushes the ball forward. Won by Sauvé. Scott. Lovely ball laid in for Forbes. Get there, no.
You got to keep trying it. At the end of the day, that is a great ball through. She wasn't able to get to it, but you never know. There are opportunities that can come from that had it been hit a little less.
And the Montreal Roses send this Stade Boreal crowd home happy and pick up their 3rd win of the season. Or do the Rapids have something in mind for these final 2 minutes plus added time? Really stop and start these last few minutes of the match.
Montreal definitely not letting up though. They are going 100% into these tackles as they should.
Nice release pass. There is Paquin. Paquin going one-on-one, and the shot stopped by Eriksson.
That switch ball continues to be Montreal's secret weapon. They're doing so great at exposing it. This is great recognition to see it, switch the play. Paquin does very well to realize, hey, okay, I got some time here. And just wind up and strike it. Why not? Why not try it? She did very well there.
Boychuk winning the ball.
You're seeing Benatti really try to make something out of very little in that final third. She's trying to collect those balls and really just create an attacking opportunity for Ottawa in these final 5 minutes.
5 minutes of added time. Claire Monyard getting ready to come into the game. Thibault on the run. Is it going to run long? Manages to pop it in. Eriksson's got to come off her line. Sauvé's got it. Hess. Sauvé. Headed away. Gibson looking for a target. Thibault keeping possession, running off some time like the veteran she is. And then finding space. Boychuk still in this match. There she is. And earning a corner kick. Thibault and Boychuk combining on the right side.
Thibault's doing really great since she came in. She's creating a lot of threat down that right flank, getting balls in the box, taking people on 1v1, and really creating that space for herself and finding it to expose down that flank.
Claire Monyard with number 7, Noémie Paquin.
There is Claire Monyard coming in for her 3rd straight match as a second half substitute for Naomi Paquin.
Great performance by Paquin to be able to, she constantly is working hard on both sides of the ball. She brings the energy, she brings the intensity. Great performance from her.
Corner kick here. Short one. Downing tries to break it up. So 15 total shots.
Wow.
From Montreal, 4 from Ottawa. So a really commanding performance, and I would say a real chunk of those shots have been in this second half.
Yeah, they really came alive in the second half in their attack, whether it's through transition or just build up through the back and being able to find those gaps, find that flank play, and create a lot of great opportunities.
Monyard holding up play to Thibault. All the way back to Lees and Capadonna. Capadonna looking for Sauvé. Boychuk still running. That'll be offside.
We're seeing a lot of great movements and runs from players like Boychuk or Paquin or Sauvé to be able to get in behind and get in those little gaps and just really combine with one another. It's really coming together today, I think, as we've seen in this second half specifically. But through each game, that front three continues to get better.
Downing called for the foul. Thibault has really been pulling the strings for Montreal, as she has been so far this season. Almost 4 minutes into this added time. Sauvé moving forward. Sauvé tackled by Scott.
Another great effort by Sauvé to win that corner.
Short corner. And Ottawa wins the free kick. And Monyard picks up a yellow card.
Another yellow is pretty on brand for this game and the physicality that it has brought.
Physicality, fireworks in the way of goals. And right now, Montreal Rose's 2-1 lead in the waning minutes.
We expected an exciting matchup, and we got one.
And Ottawa has got a free kick in dangerous territory right at the end of added time. The intrigue here, Jess.
They need to be able to make something out of this. I do believe this will be their last attempt.
Rapid have pushed forward. Spinati on the ball.
I've seen her do great things from this distance, so I do have the faith that she can make something happen here.
Bonatti up over top. Karpenko punches it away. Not out of danger yet. Gibson tackled on top of the box. Montreal desperately trying to get the ball out, and they do. The whistle goes, and the Montreal Roses, undefeated on the season and protecting their fortress at home in their home opener, 2-1 over the Ottawa Rapid. But they came out all guns a-blazing in that second half, Jess.
Yeah, that second half was very much Montreal's. I thought that they had an awesome second half, awesome game in general, but I do think that they were really on the front foot. You saw them defensively, they were resilient. Offensively, they were tenacious. They were just constantly going 1v1. They were not afraid, they were brave, and they were crashing the box. They were able to create a lot of problems down the flanks specifically, which we spoke about time and time again, and that is where they were going to be able to catch Ottawa and really expose them, and I think that they did a great job at that.
And how special is it to do that victory at home at Stade Boreal in their home opener? Robert Rosatoiu said he's got a whole bunch of fans, a whole bunch of Romanian fans. Of course, his family from Romania, and Latifa Abdu got things started for them, didn't she?
Yeah, I can imagine it's a pretty surreal feeling to be able to do that in front of family and friends, and especially your first home match. And we've seen and we've spoken about how many times they've had the last two games. They were up so early. This just shows their quality. They're able to come back. They're not a team that needs to score early to be able to win that match. They're somebody that is going to stick it out till that final minute, and that's a part of their DNA and their identity. And we're seeing it form each game more and more.
The Roses fans were enthusiastic, so was the drum line. Mariette Pichon, the sporting director out there, congratulating.
What was the instrument you said you liked?
Steel pan.
Okay.
Steel pan drum.
I'm going to bring you one next time. I'm going to get one.
Well, disappointment for Ottawa. They came in after that victory at home against AFC Toronto, but you know what? Held Montreal to 2 goals. It could have been more, and showed that great defensive effort.
Yeah,
they showed that first game.
I think they have a lot to be proud of. They did play very hard. You saw them wear their heart on their sleeve. They didn't give up either, and it's hard to be behind and trying to catch up and score that goal in the final minutes. But I thought that they overall had a great game. They just weren't able to connect that final pass. That's what really was missing for them. There were transitional moments, but at times there were players that were a little too far back, and they had to be held up, and it caused them to lose the ball. So I just think that there were things that needed to be improved to help them get that second goal, but overall there was great organization in their play. They did bring the heart, so they still do have a lot to be proud of.
Stade Boreal is a party, that's for sure. Goals from Latifa Abdu and Tanya Boychuk in the second half gives the Roses a 2-1 win over Ottawa. Thank you so much to everyone out there watching today on CBC Gem and NSL.ca and ESPN Plus in the States. Great goals in this second half. The Montreal Roses turning things around after that opening goal from DB Pridham. Latifa Abdu getting it started, but this one was the winner. Tanya Boychuk with a little exclamation point.